Hi everyone, we are from Group 4 and this is our video presentation about civil servant corruption and Cronysm. So this is for BPMNK3123 Management Ethics Group C. Okay, so this is our next slide which is explaining about our group members. So me myself is Nur Farhana, my matrix number is 292503. Next we have Sunia Enci, Situ, Nazmi, and the last one is Maizatul Akmal. So we're coming back to our main topic, which is civil servant corruption and Cronysm. As we know, the famous issue happened in Malaysia is about the case of 1MDB. So you know the participant involved is Cholo and Datuk Sri Najib. So at the first idea and the first focus of 1MDB is to promoting economic growth, but somehow happened the investment of $1 billion to 1MDB and it has become focal point of corruption plot. And because of that, the corruption happens on and it affects to our economy stability. Because of that, our goods that we buy daily has become quite pricey. And for now, as we know, Datuk Najib has sentenced for jails and Jolo still escaped from the sentence. And because of the corruption of 1MDB, the attitude, ethics and the moral value has become decreased, and the other workers make the case as their models for them to do the corruption more and more because they think that Jolo has escaped and why not them. So for the next slide, I will pass to the next presenter.
Good afternoon, sir. My name is Chingy. My matric number is 296125. Now I'm going to present the local ethical issue which were found in the 1MDB case. For the issue 1 is abuse of power. Najib Razak, as chairman and key decision maker of 1MDB, exploited his position for personal gain. Over 700 million from 1MDB was transferred to Najib's personal bank account. His wife, Rosma, also spent 1.6 billion on luxury items. The issue 2 is false declaration and bond mispricing. So for the false statement were made to Malaysian and foreign bank to process misappropriated funds. So bonds were mispriced with excessively high interest rate. For the issue 3, misallocation of public resources. Gigolo play a central role in misappropriating the fund for luxury items. For example, he spent about 250 million yachts to fund the Wolf of Wall Street and purchase luxury real estate in New York and also the London. For the issue 4 is lack of transparency and accountability. The financial statements were inconsistent and audit were obstruct. The investigator was suppressed until whistleblower and journalists exposed the scandal. For the last issue was erosion of public trust. Public confidence in Najib's leadership and governance system was severely eroded.
So next is international corruption, Petrobras scandal in Brazil. It also the same happened in Malaysia, which is the case of 1MDB. But in Brazil, we have the minor twist because this is happened between the politicians and the construction companies. Meanwhile, in Malaysia, happened between the politicians and the developer. So the case began when the construction companies want to get free tender or easy tender. So they approach politicians and give them some of money so that they can have free tender and can continue their business. And because of that, somehow the production becomes slow and they have problems with their raw materials and few buildings that cannot be built on time, and it has caused difficulties for the citizens. So because of this, the trust has declined in institution because of the citizen has no trust anymore in their politicians because they acknowledge that their politicians are taking bribes and they don't have integrity in doing work. So the trust between the citizen and the politician has decreased. The citizen quite angry with the politician until it has created a rebel, such as in the photos that I already detached at the slide. As you can see there, the citizens are getting mad to their politicians and bringing some materials to express their madness, the madness of politicians. And that's all for the slide, and we continue to the next slide.
I will continue the presentation with international ethical issue. First, abuse of power. Misuse of power at Petrobras allow hiring executive and politicians to embezzle public fund through bribery and overcharging scheme. This widespread corruption undermined governance, weak institutional accountability, and eroded public trust in authority. The scandal stressed the need for robust check and balance, independent oversight, and strict anti-corruption measure to ensure leaders act in the public best interest. Second, cross-border money laundering. Corruption cases like 1MDB and Petrobras exploit international financial system using global bank, offshore account, and shell company. This scheme exposed significant gap in international financial oversight, lack of state cooperation, and ineffective implementation of AML rules. Combating cross-border money laundering requires enhanced international cooperation, greater transparency in financial transactions, and stricter penalty for financial institutions, particularly Cronysm in multilateral organizations. Cronysm and favorism in international institutions like the UN and World Bank influence aid distribution, favoring political or lobbying interests over community needs. Corrupt practice undermine public trust with organization mandates and deter donor countries and private investors from supporting development programs. Addressing this issue require enhanced transparency, stronger supervision mechanism, and independent review community. Next, exploitation of developing nation. Multinational corporations often exploit developing countries with weak governance, as seen in the OPL 2045 deal in Nigeria, where corrupt practice denied the nation expected revenue. Transaction facilitated by concealed offshore account and corrupt local leaders exacerbate poverty, inequality, and governance failure. Addressing this issue requires stronger international oversight mechanism, stricter penalties for corporate malpractice, greater resource management transparency, and empower civil society representation. Erosion of public trust in global governance and mismanagement in international organizations like the IMF and World Bank undermine their credibility, eroding public trust and raising doubt about their intention. Declining trust in global governance institutions discourage nations from committing to their policies or agreements. Restoring confidence requires this institution to enhance transparency, implement stronger accountability measures, and foster greater social inclusiveness.
Good day everyone, my name is Sonia Loshni and I will be explaining about the ethical dimensions of the 1MDB Petrobras scandals to 5 key ethical theories. These scandals highlight the devastating consequences of corruption on the society. Number 1 is utilitarian ethics. Utilitarianism emphasizes actions that maximize happiness of the majority. In 1MDB, funds meant for health and education were diverted to personal luxuries, harming Malaysians. Similarly, Petrobras inflated costs and engaged in bribery, depriving Brazilians of social welfare improvements. These actions fail to serve the greater good. Next is deontological ethics. Deontological ethics focuses on duty and moral rules. In both cases, leaders betrayed public trust. 1MDB officials misuse state resources while Petrobras executes prioritized personal wealth over the legal responsibilities. Both violated their ethical duties. Next is virtue ethics. Virtue ethics emphasize moral characters. Leaders in both scandals displayed greed and selfishness instead of integrity and justice. This lack of virtuous leadership eroded public confidence in the institutions. Next, social contract theory. The social contract was broken in both cases. 1MDB misused funds meant for national development and Petrobras misappropriated, betraying citizens, trust and expectations. The last one is ethical relativism. Ethical relativism cannot justify such large-scale corruption. These actions were universally wrong, ignoring cultural norms and ethical standards. So in conclusion, these scandals violated core ethical principles, and to prevent similar issues, we must prioritize transparency, ethical leadership, and global accountability.
Hi, I'm Sedan Kubalan and my metric number is 288989. Let's continue by comparing the 1MDB case in Malaysia with the Petrobras scandal in Brazil. For both cases, abuse of power was a central issue. In 1MDB, billions were misused by Najib Razak for personal gain, while in Petrobras, bribes and inflated contracts were used by the executive. In terms of financial misconduct, 1MDB saw false declaration, where officials misled Malaysian banks and foreign entities. On the other hand, Petrobras was involved in cross-border money laundering, secretly transferring and embezzled funds through global banks. In Malaysia, public resources were misallocated with funds diverted for personal enrichment. Similarly, Petrobras faced Cronysm in multilateral organizations involving favoritism and lobbying. Also, the 1MDB case highlighted a lack of transparency and accountability, with the fund operating in secrecy and minimal oversight. In contrast, Petrobras scandal showed the exploitation of developing nations where weak controls made these countries vulnerable to corruption. Both scandals erode trust, but in different contexts. For 1MDB, it severely damaged the public trust in Malaysia's political system, while Petrobras contributed to the erosion of trust in global governance, undermining faith in global institutions. Thank you.
My name is Normazatul Akmal binti Muhammad Zulkifli. My metric number 293706. Now I want to present about ethical lesson learning. First, we need to learn for ethical practice to always act honest, making sure that every choice is made with honesty and morality. Since this practice foster trust and improve cooperation, also need making sure that everyone treat equally. Second, we must put long-term ethic ahead of short-term earning. Clear ethic regulation, frequent training, open communication, and all to make sure guarantee that test technique teachings are important. Last, we must be transparent and product. When conflict of interest occur, we also need provide everyone to clear direction and instruction they need to meet to make sure they do the best decision. Okay, that's all for our growth. Thank you.